I'll take one. I'll be brave.
Absolutely. It's just as long as they're speaking English, I can understand that.
Honestly, probably. Do you want me to grab you guys some?
Yeah, grab me one.
Yeah.
My Spanish isn't that good.
So, they said our 5.
Oh, thank you. And slick like the rest of us. Thank you.
I would have
Phil. All right. You guys seem a little bit twitchy tonight. That's good. I'm getting ready to be happy that the balloting is done and we can move on to do other things. I hope it turns back positive, but there's a lot of blowback. People are real sensitive about it, and I don't blame them. But
Well, nobody wants their taxes to get raised.
here's
Want her to interpret into the pod. They go fine.
be more expensive
Sorry.
in 5 years.
Makes sense.
You don't like 75 million now. You're like
Any more of those? So
even less.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I was the only one who went for us, and they were like, "Anybody want to host? Anybody? Anybody?
Oh,
Anybody?
There's
Anybody?"
another conference. There's a mayor conference that was next week.
Oh,
They told me, and I said, "When's your next one?" So the pro tem was in March,
Oh,
and then she said she did me in October for the
Okay.
mayor's one again. Are you inviting me to go to this one with you?
the April one is all of us, so we're all invited, and you get to be the host.
Awesome.
Usually, I do October.
You got
and then we all
volunteers.
get to dress up. Well,
Push the center button.
Anna was there too. She
What do we do?
pushed the
The middle button.
Former principal.
they come to no, but I'll get that a lot meeting, and it was hoping on my existence. My son, but we can talk. We'll talk. Yeah, my youngest. We had a retreat. I have
I'm gonna have
love
more.
them.
I'm gonna have more.
Took the brunt of your punishment.
sitting here.
Anything?
I will not be.
Are you the school?
I'll be done at the.
Meetings are so informative. I love going to those. EGT.
I always call them American
AW.
Talent. Got all the.
Names are crazy. My
AWC.
thick was scuba.
Goodness gracious. I finally got it to fit.
Okay, where's the middle button?
If you want to push it.
Yeah.
It's very full. Come on. It's life's full.
Yeah, my pickable drive shoes like that. Close.
Waiting for the one more.
No, get off and
It's not on the list.
No, you have to turn the end. Wow, but and that would do it. Did they tell you what this was?
This is great.
This is okay.
So we're going to go ahead and test for English. Can you hear me? Thumbs up. Good.
It is 6 p.m. We will call this meeting to order. We'll start with our roll call. We'll notice that everyone is present and accounted for. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being recorded audio and video. We'll go right to subsection E, additions or corrections to the published agenda. We have the first one, addition of item 6.c R26-10, supporting public works assistance account legislative letter. Hear from that?
Yeah, so we'll address that down under resolutions and add that as item C.
Yeah. We go to presentations next. We have the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington, and Summer Hess will be presenting. Welcome.
Thank you. May I approach the bench?
Absolutely.
I brought a few programs over in case you can't make it next floor. Should I be seated for the participants online or does it matter?
Anything you want.
Okay, more comfortable standing. We are here today to thank you so much for lending us this space for the last 20 plus weeks as we hosted the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington, both here in council chambers and next door at the Ephrata Recreation Center. It has been a tremendous experience for us to host and facilitate a leadership class in city council chambers in a civic space. And I invited a couple of our graduates to also say thank you today. So I'm going to hand it over to them. But before I do, I wanted to extend the very warm welcome to come next door in case you finish your meeting in a timely way. So from 6 to 7 o'clock, we will be sharing a community meal together, which is what we did before every class. We hosted a family style dinner next door at your recreation center. And from 7 to 8 o'clock, we will be hosting the graduation ceremony. And so you're more than welcome to come next door for that. Thank you so much for having us tonight and for the last 4 months. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My speech is going to be in Spanish today. We have both translators. Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Primeramente quiero dar gracias
First of all, I want to thank you
y honor a mi Dios y Salvador
and
Jesucristo
thank God and give him honor,
por
our
permitirme
Savior
culminar
Jesus
este
Christ,
programa.
for letting me complete this program.
Gracias a Ray Cody, el administrador de la ciudad de Ephrata,
Thank you to Ray Tody, the city administrator of Ephrata,
a Josh Johnson,
to Josh Johnson,
Gunnar Blankenship,
to Gunnar Blankenship,
del Departamento de Parques y Recreación de la ciudad de Ephrata,
from the city of Ephrata Parks and Recreations Department,
a Katie Capello, secretaria municipal.
and to Katie Capello, city clerk. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias a todos.
I
Por su
want to thank
valiosa
everyone
contribución
for your valuable contributions,
y por darnos la oportunidad y la confianza para crecer como líderes.
for giving us the opportunity and trust to grow as leaders in our community.
Gracias a Summer Hess
Thank you to Summer Hess
y a todo su equipo de líderes comunitarios
and her entire team of community leaders
que compartieron experiencias para capacitarnos y brindarnos las herramientas
for
para
their
desarrollar
experiences to train and provide us with the tools and development as parent leaders
de los padres y para impulsar cambios comunitarios
and to
enfocados
promote
en
community
acción
changes
cívica.
focused on civic actions and community and becoming community agents and change in our communities.
Este programa ha sido fundamental para expandir mi entendimiento,
This program has been fundamental in expanding my understanding
para expandir mi responsabilidad cívica.
and my civic responsibilities.
y para adquirir una nueva perspectiva del impacto que podemos hacer en nuestras comunidades.
Also in gaining a new perspective on the impact we can have on our communities.
Este programa me ha proporcionado aspectos claves en capacitación en defensa de derechos,
This program has also provided me with the key areas of training and advocacy, positive parenting education,
liderazgo comunitario y participación activa.
community leadership, and active participation in my community.
Después de recibir las herramientas necesarias para mi participación activa en la comunidad,
After receiving the necessary tools for active community participation,
decidí enfocar mi proyecto comunitario en incrementar el voluntariado en la ciudad de Quincy, Washington.
I have decided to focus my community project on increasing volunteerism in the city of Quincy, Washington,
Iniciando en mi lugar de trabajo que es llamado The Fuller Center for Housing,
beginning at my workplace, the Fuller Center for Housing,
en donde nuestra misión es eliminar la pobreza extrema
where our mission is to eliminate extreme poverty
mediante la construcción y reparaciones de viviendas dignas y accesibles para personas necesitadas.
throughout the construction or repair of decent and affordable housing for people in need.
Me complace anunciar que me he unido a la junta directiva de la organización Serve Quincy,
I am pleased to announce that I have joined the board of directors of the organization Serve Quincy,
la cual se dedica a proporcionar asistencia en crisis,
which is dedicated to provide crisis assistance,
seguridad alimentaria, organizando mercados móviles y conexión de recursos.
food, and security by organizing mobile markets and resource connections.
Muchas gracias a todos por su participación en este evento.
I would like to thank everyone who participated in this event,
Thank you very much to the city of Ephrata.
and thank you very much to the city of Ephrata.
Muchas gracias a nuestros amigos y familiares
We want to thank our friends and our neighbors
por estar con nosotros.
for being with us.
May God bless you. Muchas gracias. Dios los bendiga.
Thank you, God bless you.
My colleague Lily is also going to do a 3-minute speech with our newest baby leader.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Liliana Tejeda. I am a parent and a parent leader in our community. I have 4 kids, ages 8, 6, 4, and a 2-week-old. I live here in Ephrata. And first, I want to thank you guys for allowing us to use this space for the past 20 weeks. On behalf of all the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington participants. As a parent, the most important thing to me and to so many families in our city is keeping our children safe. Safe at school, in their neighborhoods, safe accessing basic services, and safe knowing that the adults around them are working to protect their future. Our children come from many backgrounds, cultures, and languages, but they all share one thing. Ephrata is their home. In this moment, it is scary to live in the world we live in. And when immigrant families feel fear or uncertainty, that fear reaches our children. Children cannot thrive when their families are afraid to ask for help or participate fully in community life. Immigrant families are part of what makes our city strong. My family is an immigrant family. We are raising children here, contributing to our local economy and investing in this community every day. Policies that promote trust, inclusion, and access to services help keep families stable, and that stability keeps children safe. I want to make it clear. This is not a right versus left. The point I want to get across here is we all want safety for our children, no matter what status their family is. That is what leadership is. We don't just look after our own children. We look after everyone. I ask this council to please continue to make our city the wonderful city it is. by supporting policies that protect families, promote dignity, and ensure that all children, regardless of background, can grow up feeling secure and valued. When we lead with compassion and common sense, we send a clear message to our children about who we are and what we stand for. Thank you for your time and your commitment to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you again. We're going to release ourselves to go have dinner. Please come celebrate with us if you have time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
Oh.
Couple more.
Yep. You taking that home? Yeah.
Pass more.
Yeah.
Last one.
Last one. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staying here, I will end your ear.
Oh, yeah. All right.
You have them.
Cleaning out the chambers.
Talk to Dad.
He had so
Yeah.
much hair.
Yeah,
That baby.
it's so cute.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Kids and grandkids were until 2.
Quite the program. I didn't have to really thought of his own. I knew I couldn't make it. He had like so. I had to look up for a while.
I mentioned it to me when I started writing for them. If I had the time.
Yeah.
I had.
Should have probably hollered with that proclamation before they left.
Right now.
We can say that. Why don't you go ahead? Ray, did you want us to read the proclamation? I know they're kind of leaving, but
Presentations. Part 2. Proclamation of supporting for the Leadership Institute of NCW.
that's a different one.
Right here.
Proclamation of support for the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington.
Oh, it's the wrong one.
Whereas the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington bilingual training program, a curriculum developed by the National Training Institute, seeks to empower community leaders from diverse backgrounds to advocate effectively for their children, themselves, and their communities. And whereas the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington equips community leaders with the civic skills, knowledge, and opportunities to build meaningful connections between themselves, government, and community, to guide, evaluate, and advocate for policies, practices, and programs that positively impact families and communities, and to bring about needed change. And whereas the first graduates of the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington are confident community leaders who build relationships, identify community challenges, engage in community projects, facilitate system change via civic engagement, and partner with others to build stronger communities where all children and families can thrive. And whereas the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington and its first graduates are recognized for the role they will play now and in the coming years to help our region. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, you, Steve Oliver, Mayor of the City of Ephrata, in honor of the 2025-26 graduating class of the Leadership Institute of North Central Washington, hereby proclaim February 3rd, 2026 as Leadership Institute of North Central Washington Day in Ephrata. Resolved, this proclamation be publicized for all to see and know, respectfully submitted and approved on this 3rd day of February 2026. 4th day of February 2020.
Thank you, Ray. We move down to public comment and no one has signed up to speak, so we'll move to the consent agenda. You have the consent agenda before you and we need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Motion to accept the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Mike.
The consent agenda has passed. Subsection A, approval of claim fund bills and checks issued. Anyone to speak on that behalf, or are we?
No, that's part of the
Part of the consent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll move down to subsection D, R26-009.
No, go ahead in here.
We'll get to the staff committee and agency reports.
Enough of the practical project.
That got moved to the consent.
It's under the consent.
Right, but
agenda.
pulling the map up and talking about it still. Okay.
We are moving on. We'll move to section 6, ordinances.
Nope, finance report.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Short one.
Okay.
Hmm.
Finance report.
So I have a written staff report in your guys' packet. And then just I'll show it to PowerPoint has the word graphs on it for you guys. Should have the exact same numbers. Just some people are visual learners, some people are auditory. So if you go to the first one there. So this is our general fund budget. This is for fiscal year 2025. So this is the year-to-date numbers. What we have is the first blue graph is the budget. Then the orange is the amended budget. And then the light blue is our fiscal activity. Our goal is to always stay under budget. That is something we have to do. It was sanctioned to be under budget, specifically on the expenditure side. We can go over budget for the revenues, but the expenses have to stay under budget, and the revenues and expenses have to have the same budget number. So if we look there, we stayed under budget. Well, a lot of this the amendment was moving items from the general fund to Fund 301 so that we can pay for 250 Basin Street, as we've discussed multiple times. We have our sales tax. We were a little bit nervous with sales tax, specifically with losing berries. I haven't seen it. And you can see the graph. Orange is 2025. Really hasn't made a huge difference. Our sales tax for 2025 was below for just the quarter, but we were still higher year to date for the year. Our library fund budget, this was a mistake that I had made. Our fiscal activity is over our amended budget. With that, we had our HVAC project that we were doing for both the library and the Amtrak station that we bid together. I didn't get the split of what those were going to be. I know it was under budget, but it was total under budget. The split put us over. I didn't get that until January 2nd, I think it was. I think it was labeled the 1st. We can't amend budgets after the 1st or after the 31st. So it's something that I will write in my annual report to the state. And it's up to the auditors of what they decide to do with it. Talked with Leslie. She's not super concerned about it. It's an immaterial amount, hopefully. Immaterial is normally less than 7%. It is. And it's normally auditors only care if it's 7% above your total budget, not even just the fund budget. So we should be good to go, but it's something that we'll have to definitely keep an eye on. Our parks budget, we stayed under there. Again, we had to transfer things over. A big thing for a lot of these is we expected to use reserved balances. So because it's under budget, we're just using a little bit less reserves. We're able to spend those reserves in the future years. It's not that we saved a bunch of money and we're just not spending money. The TBD fund, this is for streets projects. The big project here was our STDG grant and reserve funds. We
didn't go into that grant as much as we expected to for 2025. So you can see that the concerning part is that our revenue is below our expenditures. We did expect to use reserve funds for crack seal and preventative maintenance. So that's where that difference is.
Question for you, if I may.
Yeah.
You said you didn't go into the grant. So does that mean we lost the funds that we didn't spend?
No.
Okay.
No. It's moving on to.
Yes, construction.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can just roll it over. Okay.
Yeah. It's the same project. It's continuing. We just didn't start that project fully.
Thank you.
Our street fund, this is the reimbursable grant for the TIB project for Nat Washington Way, as well as property tax and fuel tax. About half of the revenue that was expected was the TIB reimbursable grant, that we ended up changing that grant about halfway through, so we spent less money on it. Our fuel tax revenue, we've been watching this pretty carefully all through the year. Our fuel tax has gone down. The revenue has gone down. We expected it to continue to increase. It didn't. It went down. These are numbers that funds that we receive from the state. We have no control over when we get them, how much, or if it changes. It's all up to the state on that. This is our capital, general capital budget, and for 250 Basin, you can see estimates were pretty close. I was off by almost $700 on revenues, and then just under 7,000 for expenses, so pretty close there. Our sanitation fund, this one is always, we're watching carefully with where the cleanup at the landfill efforts lie. We padded the expenses extra just because there's so much unknown about it with lawyer fees. And we did receive revenues that we were waiting for from 2024 from our insurance. Our equipment rental fund, yeah, there's not a whole lot to say with that one. We did have to increase the budget again for moving funds for 250 Basin Street.
This is always one that's more of an internal accounting one. Is there a reason why that's less predictable than some of the other ones?
This one specifically, it's because of the transfer to 250 Basin.
Under equipment rental? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if we were starting to see the revenue going down on paper just because of the change in the actual fleet format, but
not that I'm aware of yet, but I'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Our water sewer fund, so this is for operations. This had a lot being transferred from 250 Basin. We have a lot of employees and a lot of just a lot of money in this fund, and so it was a lot of expenditures and revenues, and we're working on that balance. Again, with the expense being higher than the revenue, we were using reserve funds. Our construction fund budget as a whole came in lower. We budgeted for the entire project for both the water tower and the water reclamation facility to be 100% finished this year. It's not 100% finished. It's very, very close. Both of those are currently coming in below budget with how much revenue and the loans that we have received.
great job. That was very
good.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, we move to section 6, ordinances. Section A is a first reading. It is ordinance 26-002 for co-living housing.
So back in 2024, the state legislature enacted RCW 3670A 535, which requires all cities and counties planning under the Growth Management Act to enact a co-living housing standard. Co-living housing is essentially lodging or boarding houses. So if it is where individuals rent out individual rooms in a house, bedrooms in a house. So that's what we're looking at. What you're looking at tonight, that is essentially we're following the state model code ordinance, or essentially. So in that, we are looking at updating the definition section in the zoning code section of our municipal code. We're updating the zoning tables to allow the uses as required in that code. So in the mixed density residential, we will, which does allow the multifamily, they are required, provided. There are a couple other zones, the low density residential, which we do in some instances allow the trigger, which is 6 multifamily units per acre, in areas where there's a mixed use transition overlay. We do allow the additional residential housing. So we did have to allow that in that zone, and also we do allow in the central business district. There are some other limiting, I guess, code requirements that would allow them to happen in those zones. Typically, the mixed use, they have to be in that overlay zone, and typically they would have to have that underlying, or the first floor being a commercial use. And then the additional section edition of 1908-400, which is the specific code requirements from the state model ordinance, which were parking requirements and densities, dwelling unit densities. And then we did add additional fire code guidelines so that it's spelled out specifically in the code. So when somebody comes in to do this type of thing, they know beforehand what's going on.
Ron, this is being driven by the state, is it not?
Yes, it is.
So we're required, yeah, okay. So we don't have any choice one way or the other.
And actually at this point, as of, we were mandated to have them done by the end of 2025, because we had some meetings that got continued at the planning commission. We didn't quite make it. So that state statute does supersede or preempt us. So we are under that code requirement. But we have always allowed the boarding houses in our residential zone anyway. So it really isn't a change. We're just, like I said, following state law.
Okay.
So beyond that, we did go through the environmental review. A DNS was issued, no appeals on that. Public notice happened as required. There were no public comments at any of the meetings that we had. The Planning Commission did recommend approval by Planning Commission Resolution 25.03 that was adopted on the 8th of January, recommending this be approved. So if you have any questions.
Ron, I got one. Is this encompass or include adult living facilities?
Those would still be under a separate code requirement. So this is specific typically to just a general single family residence or multifamily residence for that matter, where they're just renting out the individual bedrooms.
Okay. But it's just a bedroom. It's not an ADU.
Correct.
So if we had 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen, and 6 bedrooms, and each bedroom was being leased out to another individual, wouldn't it fall under this?
Technically, yes. I guess I'm not understanding quite.
I'm just trying to decide when I go out to look at a house, where it's going to be covered as far as being a legal use. I'm not talking about adult care facility. I'm just talking about adult living. They're just laying their head there.
Yeah, you know, essentially they could be used, it could be looked at that way. Because typically there is no permitting process for, well, I take that back. There is a conditional use permit specific to the adult living facility in some instances. But we would go through that review process through the building code.
My only concern is simply this, is that as far as the building code is concerned, my lenders don't care. What they care about is if it burns down tomorrow, their borrower or the insurance company can come back in and rebuild it to those same specifications. As far as if there's damage, they can replace that facility again.
Regardless, if they do it within that 6 months or 12 months, they would regardless be allowed to do that. So that would not change.
Whether it falls underneath one code or the other, it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, definitely. If it's a non-conforming use already, then this actually gives us more ability to allow it in the additional zones, whereas that would be specific to where it's allowed by a conditional use permit.
Okay. Thank you.
In instances like this, Ron, where the state's force feeding the change on us, are we better served to just simply cite the RCW? That way we just mirror whatever they happen to be doing without having to change our own codes all the time? 6 one, half dozen of the other. I know. Being over there gave me a window into just how many different ideas and times they want to tweak things all the time is. It's astounding you guys can keep track, but
I guess the only drawback would be if we are going for grants, that type of thing, and they are looking at compliance with the GMA. This is specific to the GMA, so it would be it could affect us negatively.
So your preference is that we update our code as we go. Yeah. Understood.
Any more questions?
I have one question. Is there any reason to go to a second reading? I mean, if we're, we might as well just go ahead and, vote on this tonight and approve it, right? Okay, because I make that proposal that we just do that.
Sounded like a motion.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We are moving on. There's no second reading for anything. We'll move on to resolutions. So before you have resolution R26-007, approving the interagency agreement between the Washington Traffic Safety Commission and Ephrata Police Department. And so I'll ask for I'll ask Chief, I'm assuming?
Yes.
For a staff report, and then I'll ask for a motion and a second. With the motion, I can open up for discussion, so.
Evening, Mayor, Council. This is kind of a housekeeping item. This has come before you annually. Generally, it's in the September-October time range when the fiscal year ends with the fiscal year ends. So this year there was a little hiccup on getting us the contract, so we're a little late on it. So essentially, this is a grant to pay for overtime and straight time for us to participate in high visibility patrols that is coordinated throughout our region. Little liability on the city, and in return we get reimbursed for overtime to participate in these patrols. So mainly to distracted driving, DUIs, that kind of stuff, high speed, participate in, when school starts for the colleges and that kind of stuff, and coordinate with our regional partners to make these patrols happen. So looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 7 for 2026, approving the interagency agreement between the Washington Traffic Safety Commission and the Ephrata Police Department as proposed.
Moved.
Second.
Anybody in favor? So moved. I'm sorry. I jumped out of the gun there again. Moving on
All in
to,
favor, aye? Was that?
Oh, yeah.
Aye?
Is that a-
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
apologize for that. Moving on to R26-008, approving the contract between Power DMS and Ephrata Police Department.
Okay, this
Again.
this one's a little bit more than just I guess housekeeping. So this one kind of in your hands whether or not essentially Power DMS is a file sharing database essentially. WASPIC has an accreditation process which the Ephrata Police Department has participated in since 2014. They changed how that's done, and it's mandated that you subscribe to Power DMS to submit your accreditation files to them. So essentially what this is a yearly subscription to Power DMS to submit accreditation documents. It's $550 a year, and so far since they've used it, the prices stayed the same. And then that price is for agencies with 50 personnel or less. Anticipate that the price will stay similar. There is you can cancel with 30 days notice before the contract expires. So if it's identified that we don't want to participate anymore, obviously, then we can end that contract. On addition to make the decision go with Power DMS, there is also a $2,000 annual fee that goes to WASPIC for the accreditation process. Mike can attest that it's just kind of a big price increase from what we've experienced in the past with doing accreditation. So it would be roughly $2,600 annually that we'd be paying to get accredited and to stay accredited. Any questions on that end?
The presentation that we've got talks about the subscription being $550 a year. So is the $2,000 in our budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
The question I have, and I know the answer to this, but I'm going to throw the question out. So in the event that we choose not to go to Power DMS, then the state will not move forward with accrediting.
Correct.
And then you have to pay for the accrediting.
No.
You don't get accredited, period.
Well, no, but if you pay the $550, but then you still have to pay the $2,000 too for the. What's the benefit of us being accredited?
Well, the whole idea is to bring professionalism to law enforcement. It's a way to have our peers come in and to evaluate that we're going through industry standards and compliance with our current policies. There's a bunch of mandates from the state. Most agencies are on Lexipol that they go through. This is one of those where peers come in and essentially validate that you're doing what you're saying you're doing. So
you also get a
could be
break on the insurance.
That's what I was wondering.
With that compliance, it could help with liability for the city that we're doing industry standard to decrease that liability and to promote that professionalism.
So potentially our insurance premiums may be less because we can say we're maybe
could be.
Could be.
That's something they take into account with insurance premiums being accredited or not.
If former Councilor McDonald was here, she'd just shake her head because insurance rates skyrocketed, and it's largely because of having a police department. So,
yeah,
insuring a police department is just in Washington is just incredibly expensive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
So I move to approve the contract R2608 with Power DMS.
I second.
Second.
Oh, everybody wants a second.
Peter Place.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Point of order. I was kind of confused on the last resolution. Would it be possible to redo that. I wasn't sure what we were voting for against that last resolution 07, not 08.
We can,
We like,
if you want to call the question again, the motion, the second, and
Absolutely. For resolution R26-007, approving the interagency agreement between the Washington Traffic Safety Commission and the Ephrata Police Department. And I am looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Did,
Aye.
Oh, wait,
Dash.
got a question.
Got a question.
did you have questions on 07 or you just weren't clear how the vote went?
the vote just happened so fast.
It
over
was-
100%.
yeah.
It seemed a little, yeah.
You have a question?
I don't have a question.
Oh, they said you did, sorry.
Go ahead and call the vote.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Feel better. Very good.
Okay,
Yeah.
no worries. Moving on to resolution R26-10, supporting Public Works Assistance Account, also known as PWAA legislative letters.
so as you know, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and I were in Olympia. One of the things that is happening is in order to cover a budget shortfall, the governor is reportedly going to propose sweeping the funds out of the Public Works Assistant account, or what was the Public Works Trust Fund. Smaller communities are incredibly reliant upon this account. We as the city have over $21 million in the last 20 years, 15 to 20 years that we've utilized for water lines, the water tower, the wastewater treatment plant upgrades, and some other things as well. It's an account that is really a model of how government should operate. The legislature funded it. Loans were given out at affordable interest rates, and it's now become self-sufficient. With the money coming in from the interest, it's enough to fund those items. Sweeping that just doesn't make any sense because of irresponsibility or whatever you want to call it in Olympia. I compare this to the federal government trying to take away Social Security. We've all paid into Social Security. It should be there when we need it. I think it's a great metaphor for what the Public Works Trust Fund is. So AWC, the Association of Washington Cities, reached out today. You've all received an email on that. This is just another step that we can take. Our plan would be to send this to the governor's office and to leadership as well on both sides of the aisle in Olympia, and let them know that we do not think they should be sweeping that account. We did have a discussion with particularly one legislator yesterday, and I walked out of there thinking she's doing Enron math. Talking about the timing of the transfers may not affect the fund. On paper, that may be the case, but if you're taking the money, it's no longer there. And now you're having to fund it from future funds. And you're just kicking that can down the road is what you're doing. So want to place this in front of you and ask that you consider this resolution. Katie does have 2 copies on nice paper that we would ask, if you pass it, that you stay after and we all sign those 2 copies, of which we'll then distribute for the city.
Comment. This reminds me of the public safety account. Back in the 80s, the legislature created an account. Okay. They increased the tickets and that to fund this account, and this account built up over years. It helped pay for the academy for officers and so forth, and then they decided to rob it. Okay, sounds to me like the same thing, and they made the same argument before, and it didn't pan out. So, for what it's worth, I think we're being sold a bill of goods.
It would appear that way.
Your writing is tactful and polite. Thank you for writing it instead of me. I'm just not as good at that. Yeah, I think it's a reminder. This is, the state essentially functions as our bank in a lot of these situations. And beyond losing the option to jumping into this, you can see scenarios where there's many cities that are mid-project that are being told, oh yeah, sorry, there's no money. Your contractors aren't going to tolerate that. I don't know what the plan is for situations like that, other than huge legal fights and major problems, but it's a big deal.
Have any other questions?
How soon can we pass this?
R26-10, supporting Public Works Assistance Account, legislative letter. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. That motion passes as well. We move down to section 9, items for council action. Subsection A, council committees / liaisons.
Yeah, so hopefully you've all taken some time to review. I try to put 2 of you on the spot. That would be okay. We have not historically been active on a regional or statewide level. Well, we've relied on just staff communications with a lot of outside agencies and with our electeds in Olympia and probably even less at the federal level. And we've talked about in our retreats of trying to have a goal of being a little more active. Excuse me. I would argue that the mayor and mayor pro tem witnessed that firsthand last days while we were in Olympia. And I just think that it's really important that we be proactive and be at the table when these discussions are happening, when they can really affect our community. So in front of you have a list. It was in your packet of all of the different committees we've been on, and I think we added a couple today that you have that were not in the original packet, but that actually Phil has stepped up and is serving on as well. So we'd really like to go through, we did name Mayor Oliver to the GTA board because they absolutely had to have somebody a couple meetings ago. But I would really like for us to go through this evening and figure out who can go where, what you would be willing to do. We tried to put what the commitment for these were, so you knew and you could check your calendar. So if we can maybe go through and Katie can just insert your name as you volunteer for these wonderful positions. So GTA again, the first one we have Steve is already listed. The next one down, we have Matt as an at-large. Matt has been serving on that board as a business owner, technically speaking, not as a representative of the city of Ephrata. Former councilor McDonald also took part in that on a fairly consistent basis, but again, that was also in an at-large position with her group. So Matt, I'm not sure if you want to stay on that or how you.
I'm on till 2027, then I have to be off.
Okay.
So if happy to be on there, I think I'm a pretty good voice for it. It's a matter whether you find the value in the economics of that. It's a 7 a.m. meeting in Moses Lake once a month, about an hour, can be done virtually. If someone is interested, more than welcome to have another voice in the room, but I don't think it's an obligation.
Perfect. Can you zoom that in to be a little bigger there for us? Sorry. There we go. Thank you. Grant County Health Board.
Got a correction for you on that.
Yeah.
The term, I'm on line G, and the term runs for 2 years, so it'd be through December of 27 rather than January of 26. And it didn't go on until January 26. It wasn't on in January of 2025. So it's all of 26 and all of 27. And I believe the way that works is that if I'm choose to run for office or I'm reelected, yeah, I would continue in that spot until such time that I'm not elected. But, or my choice, whichever comes first.
I don't think people are lining up to.
No. I can understand that. I've got to tell you something though, as far as my participation in a couple of these commissions and board meetings and stuff, I appreciate the way we do business here. Just saying.
Thank you.
No.
The LTAC, Kathleen has served as the chair. By statute, a member of the council must chair that. Unless Kathleen wants off once or twice a year.
Josh, can I be back again? Yeah, well, he can pick something else.
I think Bo is still on the board of volunteer firefighters. Is that correct? Bo wants to jump off.
No, it takes up a lot of my time. I'd like to.
Does it? Yeah. We appoint somebody to the senior center board. Most recently, we appointed Mike Jonathan back into that position. He's happy to continue doing it. He's not begging to get off this. Keeps Mike busy and his wife's. I believe Valley, you're still serving on the disability board.
Yes.
That is appointed by the board and confirmed by the county commissioners.
It's actually elected by the cities within the county and then confirmed. So, but yeah, I was reelected for another 2 years. So
Congratulations.
takes up a Thursday or a Wednesday morning every month. So whopping 10 minutes. So it's
Phil is still on the housing authority, I believe.
Through December.
Yeah. And he was volunteered for the homeless housing task force at a meeting one time.
Yes.
He was foolish enough to make eye contact.
I answered my phone.
Yeah. So we have some other things we do kind of by choice. One is the Chamber of Commerce. That has been in the job description of the recreation director because Crago didn't want to do it 20 years ago. And so the recreation director at the time was voluntold.
Yeah.
And that has been passed down happily to the current recreation director. And then Valley has been serving in a personal capacity.
yeah. I'm the treasurer right now, if it matters.
Phil has been really good about being at the Port of Ephrata meeting as a liaison. Between Phil, I, and Jeremy, there's usually at least one of us, if not all three of us, there at times. We had talked about the PUD. That can be pretty time consuming. And now their meetings are changing. I believe Bo volunteered for that last year. I don't know if he wants to continue trying to do that. What I've heard is they're changing their format. It's only going to have one business meeting a month now, but they're going to have a work session as well. I haven't seen that official, but that's the word on the street from somebody who would know. I would suggest is that's a pretty big time commitment, and there should probably be a couple of people who are involved in that as we move forward. Kind of like what we do at the port. So.
We know
the 9 o'clock hour is kind of an odd time for me to kind of stop what I'm doing and
after June I can.
Okay, we're gonna put you in there then for now.
Okay.
Do we know what they're going to as far as timing on meetings? Is it going to be the same or?
So.
Okay, that's that's tough for me. That 9 o'clock was.
And where do they meet at the main? Okay.
The other one, the library board of trustees, Kathleen Allstott did that separate of her term, the counselor, and her she's now off it. I believe as an email last year, so we don't have anybody on that. But yeah. And then legislative, Kathleen did that last year. And Valley has been involved as well, particularly she does it for her job, so it kind of makes sense. And we'll work together on that moving forward. So if anybody else would like to jump in, you're more than welcome to as well. I know two of you had a lot of fun the last couple of days, so.
Jumping back a subject, does Aaron function as an effective liaison, Aaron Loffelbein, in the library capacity? Is he on that board?
No, he's an employee.
Right, I wasn't sure if he can serve as a liaison.
It's just strictly an employee.
Yep.
He's a great partner, though. He's really good to work with. I would dare to stick my neck out and say that the mayor is kind of sort of required to be involved in the legislative things to talk to mayors. So
What's the time and dates?
we would work on that throughout the year.
Okay.
So it's something that we would just sit down with on the legislative agenda, plan out the meeting dates, work with 3 state electeds.
Or at least 2025. I think that's pretty much the case for both of us going forward. So happy to finish up on some of the commitments we made. I'd prefer to not make additional overnights or trips to Olympia, and definitely not Washington D.C. if that's anything you have in your mind. But yeah, I'll continue on that.
Yeah, that was a great adventure anyway. So
Yeah.
willing to do that.
Yeah. So there are other things we have that are independent of council participation. The Parks and Recreation Commission, we have it. There is no council activity in that. They make recommendations to you, though. They do have a charter and different things. They work with Josh on the budget, capital planning, those kinds of things, long-term planning items, and suggestions on programming as well.
Mine is actually
Okay. Got a vacancy. Sorry. So we'll have a vacancy in the Parks and Rec Commission that will announce. That process would be, we put an announcement out, people put in letters of interest. Historically, the Parks Commission has narrowed it down to 2 and made a recommendation to the council, or to the mayor. The mayor has then brought it to the council for his choice and asked for your confirmation at that point.
What's the usual time for that meeting?
first Monday at 12. First Monday of the month at 12.
Okay, meetings are usually hour or 2.
It varies, probably 45 minutes to
Okay.
hour and 50 minutes. No more than an hour and 30.
All right, thank you.
Planning Commission runs similarly, independent of councils, and they make recommendations to you as well. Ron oversees that process.
And we have 1 vacancy, and 1 short.
I'll make that look better later. Let's go with.
Also to that list, Civil Service Commission works with Eric and Katie. We have 3 members on that. They reviewed the rules related to police department technicalities of hiring, firing, and different rules that they operate by. So,
Is that one full as well, or is it open?
I'm sorry.
It's full? It's 3 person. Okay.
I think that's it. Have any questions on those?
Now, there's an understanding that I'm not going to be able to do PUD until June. That's not going to cause any problems for you?
This has been going to them. So.
Okay. Okay. I'll take care of it.
Any more questions?
We go to administrative reports. I got a couple questions there.
Absolutely.
Before we drop the gavel.
We'll turn that over to Ray.
I don't know if they have anything, so if you have a question, I'm happy to.
Two.
Okay.
How'd your trip go?
I
mean, other than a good time had by all, did anybody give us an encouraging word?
I think it was all encouraging words. That doesn't always carry a lot of weight.
Right. I will say
You
we
could-
met with 4 members. Met with our 3 and then an additional 5. And 3 or 4 of them were not on our Ephrata side of the aisle, if that's how you might want to say it. I would say they were all very accommodating, pleasant, good conversations. I don't think we did anything to change their mind, but they listened to us. One of them was very impressed with my lapel pin, and I need to mail it to him. It has our crest on it. So I'm going to send him one. Did we accomplish anything? Maybe. I mean, it's always good to have communication open, and I got to give kudos though to Matt, the mayor. They did fantastic. Historically, if I've gone in there as an employee, we don't necessarily carry a whole lot of weight unless the bill is very particular to the area that you're in. So if it's administrative, so we had one that we didn't really talk about too much, but it's the lodging tax report. We had to submit a lodging tax report to JLARC every year, and nobody ever looks at it. And they fully admit they don't look at it because that account gets audited by the state auditor every year. So then why are we doing it? That would fall somewhere if we explain that to them. They would. I might hold a little bit of weight, but for the most part, an elected official holds a lot more weight when they're holding those discussions. So we learned some processes of how to do things better next year and be a little more prepared and a little more organized. So looking forward to being able to utilize that. And if you guys want to add anything.
Yeah, I think going forward on that, this was obviously not the time to ask for money. They are all in a big scramble, and there was a lot of tension. I think one side of the aisle felt pretty frustrated and defeated, and the other side of the aisle felt panicked because they were a little bit overwhelmed with how much they had committed to, how much they had promised themselves, and how little had shown up financially. So they had bigger problems than anything we were willing to address. That said, they were more than happy to talk about some of the smaller things we were talking about, that most of which are nonpartisan. You can bring up a lot of things, like we had some pieces of pretty good legislation, like the trying to remove the shrub desert classifications from inside the city limits. That's a very simple change that would have no material effect on the environment in any way, shape, or form. It was also unfortunately quite specific to us and maybe a handful of other communities, and that just isn't enough to resonate. So some of these things you can tell they're passing stuff into committee, and it's either coming from the right hand or it isn't. I didn't get the feeling anyone had any objection, and it didn't go anywhere. So that was just we weren't allowed enough voice by ourselves to do things like that. But I think we gave them some pretty good insights into a few things that legislators have a tendency to see a finish line and vote for it and not understand the process that's going to get there, or lack of any process to get there. So I think we pointed out a few things to some people that there were some half-baked ideas that were not well thought through, that didn't really have funding or planning mechanisms or any consideration for the economic side impacts. So I think we made some points. Don't know if they got anywhere, but I think there was a few that we may have had a small impact legislatively. On the financial side, I think it helped me. Ray's got more experience with this. Give a little better visual for strategy for how to get a grant or get things through. I think if I was going to give good news, bad news, I would be surprised if we're not in a good position to get some money and funding for the larger project of the City Hall Police Station. It won't be fully funded. It might be a better strategy to get things done, small pieces, and get them on the hook to complete it, but it would be in stages and partial. That was kind of the way I was reading the room, that if you ask for $8 million, you're fighting against, you know, $100,000 grants they would be turning down in your place. That if you take things, particularly at the front end, in a piecemeal format, you're saying, well, this is stage 2, stage 3 in the years to come, that you really make them feel a little more committed and almost guilty for not finishing your project. So I would expect that we're going to craft something along those lines to present to them and try to get it out there way before the session starts, to be right on the top of the stack when they start looking at these things. So.
I can honestly say that as we were there with Ray's forethought and the way everything was mapped out, and Matt's ability to pivot in transit, and these two were working in unison, where we would get an advice from one of our representatives. He said, well, if you try this and this, and we were on it. And Matt was doing this, and these guys combined a strategy that like any D&D player would be jealous of. As such a good plan of attack. We utilized our time so much better on day 2 with this because we knew what to do. So for next year, it's so well prepared. But we went in honestly as a 3-person unit, and we stayed in unison, and we did not interrupt. We didn't waver. We were just there, and any questions could be asked. And Ray, taking the lead because of his experience and knowledge, he got through to everybody. They listened, they paid attention, there was no diversion. When Matt would speak, it was the same thing. I did a lot of observing, as it's my first time, but if you were there, you'd be very impressed how streamlined this was, and not, essentially a lot of it was us flying blind, and we didn't let it show, and they commanded their attention, and they respected us for that. And I felt it was a very big success for something that I had no idea how we did it. And we all latched on to the idea. We followed the plan, and the plan worked. So I know next year will be just as successful, and we'll actually have more tools in our arsenal next year that we can use. So I'm really would like to thank Ray and Matt for their expertise and their help in guiding this whole thing. I'm telling you, without these guys, we would have floundered. So if you want to give them a thanks, I appreciate them just as much as everybody else.
Go team. You did good.
You guys did very well. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Any more questions about it?
Different question, different topic. Timeline on our moderation, arbitration, whatever you want to call it, as far as with the police department and getting that resolved?
They last week, the attorney and their attorney, our attorney and their attorney struck names. So when you file for arbitration, PERC sends you a list of names, and then you take turns striking them.
Like jury selection?
Essentially. So the firm has a workup on all the state arbitrators, and they know what their tendencies are, and so the idea is you end up with someone that's moderate in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they struck, they came up with the name. I got an email yesterday. The arbitrator actually accepted the assignment, and we're looking at dates in August.
And that's for the first session, or that's for completion?
That should be, they'll probably reserve 2 to 3 days in a row. It's a very relaxed court proceeding, really, is what it is. And then, yeah, we'll go through, and then the auditor goes away, takes all the information. There's testimony, and then they send you back out their findings afterwards.
And would that be located in Grant County or at the arbitrator's home?
Usually it's here. Yeah, usually they come to you.
Okay.
And we get to pay their mileage and their hotel.
All the good things. Okay. One last comment in terms of compliments to Katie in terms of adding to the transparency of what's going on in the city. I went in on the app and signed up for everything. I mean, you talk about catching a dog up on D Street, and it's on the app. I get an email for it, or I get a message for it, or I get something. And I got the information in regards to our 3 gentlemen going to Olympia in terms of a recap on that. I got a highlight or a message in regards to the water tower coming online and that it's going to start increasing as far as pressure and stair stepping up to where it's not going to blow anybody's faucets off the first day and working that up to full pressure. My point being is thank you. If people want transparency, it's available to them. Get on the app.
I agree.
Thank you.
Anything else?
One other comment, we're hosting the GCCT in April. You're welcome. That's what happens when you send Kathleen by herself to vote. And when they say, does anybody want to host? I said, you have a nice pizza oven and we have a lot of gentlemen who love grilling.
Oh, got volunteers.
I'm just saying.
And thank you for the cards.
Yes, thanks.
Anything else? All right. Thank you all for attending. This meeting is adjourned.